This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Ease, the leading online, on-demand marketplace for legal California medical marijuana delivery. If you're a registered medical marijuana patient living in California, do yourself a favor today by opening up ease.com and seeing what your local options are. Ease only works with the top dispensaries in their active areas, so you can be assured that you're going to see top product at affordable prices. And with just a few clicks, you can get those medical marijuana products delivered right to your door. To learn more about Ease and to check out their wares, just open up ease.com, which is spelled E-A-Z-E, ease.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Friday, December 1st, 2017, and you're tuned in to episode 384 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is the news out of Ohio that state's first large-scale cultivation business licenses have been awarded. The state's Department of Commerce selected 12 companies in all, with one applicant winning in 2 locations, though it will need to pick just one to run under. The cultivation licenses were awarded at the county level and grant their holders the right to grow up to 25,000 square feet of medical marijuana. Ohio's registered medical marijuana patients should expect to see in-state commercially available medicine sometime around September of next year. In the meantime, state law gives them license to use medical marijuana products procured from out of state. A new bill just signed into law on Wednesday by New York Governor Andrew Cuomo will require the state's Department of Health to list every doctor certified to recommend medical marijuana within its system on its website. The bill was sponsored by State Senator Dianne Savino and should help increase patient access in a state long criticized for its badly implemented medical marijuana program. New York State has more than 35,000 medical marijuana patients with 1,316 registered doctors and just 20 dispensaries. Our final top story of the day continues on the theme of our second, with Texas patients worried about a lack of medical marijuana doctors, with just 7 out of the state's 400 neurologists having registered to recommend CBD oil, the sole legal medical cannabis product in the Lone Star State. Texas law allows patients living with certain kinds of intractable epilepsy to use CBD oil and has given license to 3 companies to cultivate and dispense. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Ease, the one-stop shop website for legal California medical marijuana delivery. But as you heard me mention yesterday, Ease is more than just a medical marijuana delivery service. Recognizing the value of all the information flowing through their online ordering system, they very carefully aggregate and anonymize their sales data for packaging up into insight and wisdom. Their annual State of Cannabis Data Report is a must-read for anyone in the industry, with this year's report due to come out in the first month or two of the new year. If you'd like to learn more about how Ease is helping all of us understand the dynamic market of California medical marijuana, just open up ease.com/blog, where you'll find lots of useful and relevant posts and stories. That's eaze.com/blog. And don't forget, if you're a registered medical marijuana patient living in California, you owe it to yourself to check out Ease's beautifully designed website, which makes it super simple to browse and order your favorite local medical marijuana products for delivery. One last time, that's ease.com. All right, time for the blitz. The Australian website Stockhead has a good story up about local company Cann Group and their ambitious plans for expanding their reach in both their domestic and international medical marijuana markets. The company is in the midst of raising a $60 million Australian round of investment, which it will use to build out their cultivation and processing capabilities, just as soon as the federal government changes the current law that requires all Aussie cannabis to be sold within its borders. This is a good one to open up and read, if only to stay on top of things on the other side of the globe. Canadian marijuana activist Jody Emery is criticizing former police officials now involved in various medical marijuana businesses. This is a story I've touched on before, with former Toronto Police Chief Julian Fantino popping up in the news for his participation in a medical marijuana company, despite being on record as a staunch prohibitionist just 2 years ago. Ms. Emery spoke with the Guardian newspaper and said specifically of Mr. Fantino, quote, I'm always happy to see our opponents admit that we were right by adopting our messaging and that we've been saying for so long. But it's hard to stomach when he isn't saying that he's sorry for arresting people for cannabis. He's not saying sorry for ruining lives and trying to prevent access to patients and veterans for all those years." Unquote. Nevada State is officially wrestling with the friction caused by its embrace of legal adult use marijuana against the current federal prohibition on cannabis. With gaming playing such a large part in the state's economy and culture, state and gaming officials, led by Governor Brian Sandoval, have been discussing how casinos should handle things like marijuana business conferences. Their hope is to have some concrete recommendations ready for release by February. We'll be checking back on this one for sure. Oklahoma looks to be seriously considering the legalization of hemp cultivation, with a proposed plan in the works that's garnered bipartisan support from state lawmakers. The state legislature convenes for its next legislative session in February, so this is probably another story we'll be bouncing back in on after the calendar turns over from January. Huffington Post Canada has a good comprehensive look at what legal adult use marijuana will look like in that country starting sometime in the middle of next year. American legal marijuana industry folks definitely need to be paying sharp attention to what's going on in Canada's legal market, so this is a story I'd recommend you open up for the full digest. The nation of Italy legalized medical marijuana in 2007, but in a way that's been unrepeated in any other country since, by giving the license to cultivate and process medical cannabis for distribution through pharmacies to the Italian army, who also oversees the production of certain kinds of pharmaceutical drugs. As the Washington Post is reporting, that system has its flaws, with the Army cultivating just one single strain of low THC cannabis that many patients find to be ineffective. Imported medical cannabis from the Netherlands is available, but can cost as much as $85 a gram, compared to the Army's price of $7 a gram. And finally for today, we have a story out of Canada of a prohibitionist lawmaker who appears to have just woken up after taking a 30 or so year nap. Ron Orr is a conservative member of the Legislative Assembly of Alberta and recently spoke out against a cannabis legalization bill by warning that legal marijuana could lead to the breakdown of society comparable to the chaos of China's communist revolution. This is one of those stories that you just have to click open yourself, if only to hear Mr. Orr's delusional rant. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Those are our headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again Monday morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Before we wrap for the day, I just want to share a very cool story from the recent Marijuana Business Daily Conference in Las Vegas. While I was out on the floor of the convention, I was lucky to meet listener Dan for the first time, who had an amazing picture to show me. While he was driving from Los Angeles to Vegas for the conference, he pulled in behind a car at a stoplight that had a license plate reading "One Take," which regular listeners know as part of our sign-off line. He quickly took out his phone and snapped a picture on the off chance that we'd meet in Vegas. I couldn't tell you who was more excited over the picture once he told me the story. It made my week, I gotta tell you. I'll be sharing that photo on our Twitter account, so if you want to see the serendipitous license plate shot yourself, swing over to @MJTodayDaily. Big thanks to Dan for sharing and for listening. And thanks to our sponsor Ease and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing on over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. Become a patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.